This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Good morning. I don't know if we could call it a good morning. We'll try to make it the best we can.
Somber.
Yes, it's one of those days where you're going to be hurting all day long, especially if you're an older fan. If you're a younger fan, you're just going to hear about the stories like you have for so many years. But unfortunately, we have lost Don Shula. Don Shula passed away today, and he has lived a complete life. That's the good thing about it. There's no doubt that the man was able to live a complete life, but meant so much to all of us here in South Florida as sports fans. And, you know, for a lot of us, for a guy like myself, my love for sport pretty much started with the Dolphins and Don Shula, right? Because, you know, I'm born in 66, the year pretty much the franchise was born. And you look at the history of the franchise as I'm growing up, that's what I had here. I had the Canes, and then later on we would add the Strikers in the late 70s and early 90s. And so it was one of those things that Don Shula was the first one to create a love affair for us. Because, you know, Canes football has been able to do that. Canes baseball, to a certain extent, didn't. And then, obviously, the Heat was the next franchise that was able – even though the Marlins have won 2 titles in 97 and 03, it really wasn't some kind of a crazy wave or anything like that. It was more sporadic, and it was just, you know, 2 separate teams, 2 separate eras that won it at the perfect time. But it wasn't like there was a roll going on. Like the Miami Heat have been on a roll since Pat Riley took over. Okay? And I know they've had a couple of down years and all that, and some of those, you know, hairy years here with some of those bad contracts. But overall, the Riley run is a lot like the Shula run, right? A lot of winning, a lot of trips to the playoffs, a lot of division titles, trips to the championship game and the Super Bowl. And Shula was the first guy in this town to create a sports love affair. Others have done it now, like I just mentioned, and they've increased our love and our dedication to sports. But Shula was the first guy. Shula was the guy that brought on the undefeated season that we are still talking about to this day, the season that everybody else talks about because they're the only ones that did it. You know, Shula's the first guy to be an icon as a coach here. Shula's the first guy to give us the confidence. And I've talked about this before in the show over the years, is I'm dying to have the confidence once again when you're walking into Hard Rock Stadium that you feel good pretty much every single week that you're going to win. Because that's what Shula gave us. You know, and when a guy like Shula comes to your town and changes your culture, and I know that it was a short time because it was just the expansion years. You know, and Coach Wilson did the best he could. He was limited. I mean, you know, heck, he had his son as a backup quarterback. You know what I mean? So it's one of those crazy things. And, you know, this is a guy that started it all here in South Florida. And he put Miami on the map. He put Miami Dolphins on the map. He made them one of the elite teams in football. And I know, sadly, what's gone on for the last 20-something years has kind of torn down everything that Shula built. But it shows you that what he built was so long-lasting that people don't forget it. I'll never forget it. You'll never forget it. You know, a lot of us that experienced it will never forget it.